maybe, just maybe, that you've seen some people who are so confident that you're wrong and they're right. They said, oh, the international guidelines said so, but you check and it doesn't exist. Never said what they said, but they're so confident. What the heck? Where did the confidence come from? Or maybe you've asked yourself, why I seem to doubt myself so much more than others. Why I am in another extreme. Or heck, maybe you're raising a little one right now, and you're like, I want her to be confident, not like me, always doubting myself, unrealistically, but not grandiose either. Today we're getting into that. This is part 1 of a 2-part video where we unpack the psychology of narcissism and self-esteem based on a 2020 article published in Child Development Perspectives. It's thoughtful, it's evidence-based, and it blew my mind a little. Quick disclaimer, most of the research was done in Western middle-class families. So before we go drawing universal conclusions about every child everywhere, remember cultural differences matter. And we still need more studies across different classes, backgrounds, countries to get the full picture. That said, this article still gives us so much to chew on. We are talking the 2 types of narcissism. One is flashy, one is fragile. The real difference between narcissism and self-esteem, hint, it's not volume. How parental praise can build resilience or ruin it. And how we accidentally raise kids who think they are either godlike or garbage. Yeah. There's some story time, some science, some mini identity cries. My name is Ri, and this is Parenting Psychology and Self-Growth from a reliable fact-checker perspective. Served with tea, honesty, and just enough memes to keep us from crying too early in the video. And I would stress that it's not just eye-opening. It's essential for our lives because honestly, if I never recognized this art in my life, I may not have graduated my PhD. My gosh. So it's been a blind spot of my life, and it's also very hard for underconfident individuals to improve self-esteem. It's really hard. You may need to really change something in your life, like partner, like dump your old boyfriend and get a good one that takes care of your heart. Let's go. So first, you know narcissism, right? Turns out, wait for it, there are 2 types of it. One is what you'd expect, grandiose narcissism. It's loud, it's bold. It's like, I'm the best at everything energy. These are the kids who will fail the puzzle and still tell you they crushed it. Love the confidence, hate the delusion. But then, there's vulnerable narcissism. And this one is sneaky, quiet. It's shy, withdrawn. It's, I'm special, but also don't look at me because I'm anxious and terrified you won't see it. It wants to be a jewel kept in a dusty drawer, constantly worried it's not shiny enough. And honestly, this blew my mind because I thought narcissism was all drama and spotlight. But now I know it can wear a spotlight or a hoodie. So here is number 2. This one surprised me when I first really understood it. Narcissism is a subclinical personality trait that predicts considerable maladjustment. Shame. Okay, so this is an interesting way. Also, hubris and shame. What's that? It means that their mood is swinging back and forth between feeling superior, hubris, and feeling embarrassed and shame. And in fact, many narcissists have low self-esteem. Oh, so narcissism and self-esteem, not the same thing. They do have a small similarities, but they are very weakly linked. Some old theories said that, well, narcissism was just confidence turned up too loud, like self-esteem with a megaphone. But recent research says it's not. Narcissism is like full glam makeup, striking attention, grabbing, meant to impress from across a room. Self-esteem, that's more like a solid skincare routine. You don't always notice it right away, but it's doing the real work underneath. One is filter, the other's foundation, and that's the difference. Narcissism needs constant reapplication, validation, attention, praise. Self-esteem, it stays with the person, even when no one is looking. Even when you are barefaced at 8 a.m., hair a mess, just trying to make it through the day. All right, let's get to the next point. But let's refresh ourselves with the new format of talking here. Oh my god, you failed that assignment? You bombed that presentation? Didn't get a job? Didn't make the team? Didn't land a role? No worries, just do whatever the narcissists do. Tell yourself you absolutely nailed it. That's right, introducing delusion, but make it deluxe. Narcissists don't just think they're amazing, they know it. Even when they don't finish the puzzle, even when the group project flops because of them, even when their brilliant idea tanks again. Meanwhile, over there in team self-esteem, we're just checking our actual performance against reality. Boring, I know. But healthy self-esteem is kind of into honesty, into growth, into facts, even when they hurt a little. Because self-esteem says, I can do better next time. Narcissism says, everyone else just didn't recognize my genius. So, if you want to live in a constant cloud of ego, glitter, and denial fog, narcissism might be your girl. But if you're into actual self-worth, try realism. It's wildly underrated. Okay, I love this next one. It's giving major personal growth energy. So let's talk about how kids build confidence. Because there's a huge difference between teaching your kid to strive for their best self and teach them to be better than everyone else. Narcissistic kids, they're aiming for superiority. Like full, I'm the main character energy all day. They don't just want to do well, they want to win. Always. Even when no one's competing, even when they are clearly flopped. And look, I get it. That's flashy. And it feels good when it's look at me outfit at the black tie event. It gets attention, but it doesn't age well. Now kids with high self-esteem, different story. Let me read out loud the sentence here. Children with high self-esteem may not habitually compare themselves to others, but instead tend to reflect on how they have improved over time. Now, they are not obsessing over beating the kid next to them. They are more like, hey, did I get better than I was yesterday? So here's what to do as parents. 1. Instead of praising your kid for being the best, praise them for making progress. 2. Say, you really focused better today, or last time you gave up and this time you keep going. That's great. 3. Literally teach them to compare themselves to past themselves. Not to Susie with the sparkly shoes or Liam who already reads chapter books. That mindset sticks. It grows with them because chasing superiority is exhausting. Watching yourself grow, that's the kind of confidence that makes them feel like they've got this, no matter who's in the room. Okay, this next one really caught me off guard. Narcissist kids, they tend to make big sweeping conclusions about themselves, like global ones. They aced something, they're a genius. They messed up, they're garbage. Game over. And they don't just think that for a second, they locked it in. That's the stable part. Their entire self-worth shifts on every win and loss. When they get negative feedback, they don't just feel, hey, that sucks. No, they feel shame. Like blushing, spiraling, I'm awful shame. And sometimes that shame turns into anger, like a little emotional volcano. So I'm sitting here reading this and I'm like, oh no, because I'm doing that. I have these moments where someone points out a mistake and instead of being like, thanks, I'll fix it, I'm like, everything I do is wrong. I'm a failure. Don't look at me. And then I want to slam a door or go for a very aggressive walk or suddenly reorganize my entire life at 3 a.m. And listen, I'm not saying I'm totally a narcissist, but I'm saying humans are complex, because I'm sure I'm not 100% narcissist if I were ever. I've got a little bit of that wiring in me, but it's not all of me. And that's kind of huge relief, right? We are allowed to recognize our little psychological reflexes without turning them into full-blown identities. So here's what I'm learning today. If you feel yourself swinging between I'm a genius and I'm garbage, pause. That's not confidence talking. That's fragility. Self-esteem doesn't freak out when you mess up. It says, cool, learning opportunity. It doesn't crown you queen just because something went well. Either it's more like, nice work, keep going. So yeah, I had a little mirror moment with this one. Not my favorite, but also kind of freeing. So now here's the reason. Because you know how sometimes you think you are just being disciplined or humble or tough on yourself. And then one day you're like, wait, was I low-key trained to feel ashamed every time I messed up? Yep. I honestly didn't even realize for the longest time how much of that came from like school systems and grown-ups who were just out there calling mistakes moral failures. Like you spill the juice, suddenly you're selfish. You lose a competition, lazy. It was this whole vibe of, if you messed up even a little, you should definitely feel ashamed, and then boom. The voice gets in your head. It starts like singing you, but it's not you. It's your third grade teacher who thought emotional resilience was for weaklings. It's your mom's friend who said, don't cry, that's embarrassing. Like it was career advice. So yeah, if you grew up in an environment like that, of course, you're gonna flinch at feedback. Now, of course, you're gonna want to be the best, so no one scolds you. That's not personality, that's programming. I think this is one of the most comforting things I've learned. You're not dramatic, you're not broken, you're just carrying a little internal megaphone passed down by the grown-ups who raised you. And you know what? We can put it down. We can literally be like, okay, thank you for the survival strategy. Now I'm actually good now. We can reparent ourselves gently with words like mistakes are part of learning. I can be proud of progress, not perfection. No one gets it right all the time. Literally no one. So we are not trying to raise robots. We are trying to raise real humans with feelings, flexibility, and enough self-love to make mistakes and keep going. Phew! I'm gonna go hug my inner 7-year-old. Be right back.